What's up, guys? My name's Doofus Mcdooface, and today we're finishing our final tier list, tier 6 of Legion TD2 unit fighters, units, whatever you want to call it. Ready to get it done. I know it's been 5 months, my bad. Hopefully the next tier list that I post won't be separated by months and months and months. But without further ado, I'm just going to be giving my personal opinion on should this creep be S tier, should this unit be A tier, D tier, C tier, B tier. Let's get into it. Start with the Bunk. Right off the bat, I'm thinking middle. Right, like I'm gonna walk through this. I'm gonna look at some of my stats, and I will check my stats towards the end, and then maybe change everything. But Bunk for me feels like B tier. All right, let's just put it in the B tier for a second, and let's sort of conceptualize. I mean, it's Pierce fortified. It's decent if you start with it. Can save your butt on 7 or 9. It's not great on 10. Decent 11, 12. I mean, it's got a lot of good units, or a lot of good waves, right? Most of these tier 6s are relatively great most waves. But I do think like Mole Hermit, especially the new Honey Bear. I think the new Honey Bear has made, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I think it's knocked Bunk and Boar down super far. The advent of the Honey Bear is just crazy. Dude, that's a great idea. I should do a Mercs tier list. But sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'm gonna go B tier. Like, let's just check our stats real quick. Hopefully you guys can see these stats. I know I'm uber zoomed in. I mean, I can't open with it, right? So I don't know why I would look at that. But how far down is the Bunk? It's probably middle of the pack, right? Where is it? Banana Bunk, 55%. I mean, it's good, right? But I do think like now I think it's not going to be as good because of Honey Bear. I think I would have had it A tier, but I'm going to drop it to B tier. It's great for Chieftain Cheese. It's great if you can use Vamp on it, Ocean Templar, but placement does matter too. So I mean, it's one of those really important ones where placement matters. So let's actually skip Egg and go with the second super important placement one, the Fire Lord. I'm gonna put this one at A. I'm not gonna go S tier because placement matters so much, but a good Phoenix can just change the entire game. A good Phoenix can literally, I've lost Nova Cups to perfect Phoenixes that then you check in Sandbox and it leaks, right? A perfect Fire Lord into a Phoenix, right? Phoenix is the upgrade. Is just amazing. What was it, Magic Swift or whatever? It's just, if used correctly, this can hold like 800 under, right? Yeah, Bunk is good, but I don't think it can hold 800 under. So, and then once again, like there's so many ways you can use it. You can use it with Butcher. You can use it with Flying Force. You can use it with a really nice Protector. You can Chieftain Cheese this. I guess you could APS it. I guess you could Starcaller it, or Magician it. Probably wouldn't recommend those things. But I'm feeling pretty good about Firelord. Not quite S tier. Honestly, I don't even know if I will have an S tier unit from the T6s. But let me check my stats and actually see where Firelord is. It might be pretty low for me, right? Because like I said, I mean it's not an easy one to use. All right, maybe we should drop it from A. I'm not even seeing it. Is it that low? No way. No way. Oh my goodness. Right there. Phoenix is 48.5%. Firelord is 47.8%. I still would put it at A tier. I'm not going to change my mind based off of win rates. I really do think it's a good unit, especially like if you just start the game with it. You're really not that weak. You can work a whole game around it. I'm keeping my Firelord right there. And the one that everybody wants us to talk about, the Egg. Let's just get it over with. Egg can be great. Nah, what am I kidding? Egg is great. Egg is great. Dude, who doesn't love egg, man? I'm trying to think of like situations where egg is bad, right? I mean, of course, egg is bad if your teammate kills it on 2 or 3. Let's assume that you're growling into egg or pirate skeleton into egg. Yeah, it can be bad if your teammate kills it. But if you start with an egg, you already have a lead. It's like a tiny kingpin where you already get value. You get value at the start of the game instantly. Placing eggs on 11 or 12, if done correctly, are amazing. I know we're not talking about Classic, but in Classic, it literally is like insta-win if you have egg in the late game. I just don't see a lot of downsides to eggs if used correctly. Like, I mean, most of these tier 6s have to be used correctly, right? I mean, Bunk has to be placed enough to the point where it has to tank. Firelord has to tank and not die. Egg has to be used to bait or in a situation where you know they're not going to send, so you can get away with it. And also, like, placed with the correct units on wave 2 and 3 so that your egg doesn't die to a robo or die to a brute. But I think the value is just crazy, right? Like, of all the units here, egg is the only one that once you get a lead, if you just keep placing eggs, you will never be beaten. You can't lose, right? If done correctly, I guess if they suied. But if you just keep egging, your value just keeps growing. So I feel like egg has to be S tier. Same thing. I mean, Hydra's at 50% right there. Egg is at 47%. That's because I do a lot of stupid stuff with eggs, right? I'm dumb when I play egg. But I don't think it's a situation where statistics should actually penalize the egg. That's the player, right? Right? Like, what unit is going to give us the best chance to win, right? I guess I will say all 3 of these have a similar level of difficulty. Placement matters. Time placing it matters. But yeah. Now, I'm going to be super biased, and I'm going to put Boar as low as I possibly can go. I don't think I can go D tier, right? I'm gonna go C tier with the Boar. I mean, honey bears have destroyed boars. I don't think I've played Boar in my I've probably played Boar since Honey Bear came out, maybe 3 or 4 games. You can't use boars in Classic overtime anymore. You can't really use them in ranked, even if you have like, oh, I've got Halo Boar. Oh, I've got Disciple Boar. No, you don't. Like, same thing, like Zeus Boar, like, same thing with Pyro. Any AoE type stuff, just like I have the Bunk down, I've got to have the Boar down. And honestly, I feel like Boar was A to S tier before Honey Bear. Now it's not. It's just not that good anymore. I would love to know, like, if there was like a Drakbot statistic of how Boar has performed in this recent patch. Maybe that's actually possible. Is there a way to check that? Actually, I think that is. Let's showing off Drakbot real quick here, guys. I believe I might be able to. Unit stats. Yep, unit stats. I want to find Boar. Jesus. That was scary. Boar this patch. I might have to edit that out, but that's fine. Boar is at B tier, right? 49.5. So if I click on it here, S plus tier this patch. Okay, hear me out. Has it gotten better or worse? Okay, it may have gotten a little bit better this patch. Or about the same. It's about the same. That doesn't matter. I'm still the tier list creator here. I've lost so many games because boars are not as good to the damn honey bear. If you're playing a person who's smart enough to send honey bear into boars, they are not as strong as they once were. I'm keeping boar at C. And then watch, we're going to check my stats, and it's going to be super high, right? Yeah, 55%. Red eyes, 56%. It's in my top 15 most wins. Dude, what a crazy tier list, man. I think the thing is, like, I'm so biased from this patch. This patch is sort of my bias. Got a hair in my face, and so I'm pretty biased. And I'm sort of letting that change my mind in this tier list, maybe more than I should. But you know what I will say statistically? Holy Avenger. I don't understand why. Where is it at? 57%. I don't understand how or why. I mean, I think I do know. I think I might be able to prove to you guys why I'm going to put my Holy Avenger Sovereign at S tier. I believe it is S tier because when I use it, it wins. Now, caveat, I only use it sometimes, right? I bet that it's one of my lowest tier 6 picked units because people are like, Doofus, why do you never pick the Holy Girl? Why do you never pick the Sovereign? Why do you? And it's because I won't play it unless I have the right units with it. Like all these others, like I'll take Bunk if I don't have Butcher. I'll take Firelord if I don't have like Flying Force or Butcher. I don't have Disciple or Halo. Just randomly Egg. Or I think I'll take most of these without the combo that pairs well with it. But Avenger I won't. Avenger I will only take when I have a Butcher, when I have a Tree of Life, a Grarl for Ocean Templar, there's Vamp in the game. Like, I've been really smart to play Holy Avenger when I need to play Holy Avenger, right? And I think that shows. So I've got 110 games, 121 games with Sovereign, 134. Yeah, 134 with Avenger. I just really want to quickly check my others. 120 with Millennium. Where's the other? Boar. Yeah, Boar's got 147, so a little bit more. I'm trying to see if I use it less. That's what I'm trying to prove here. Hades I've used the least. I guess I've used it a similar amount of time. Wow, Dread Knight I never used. But yeah, I don't know. I never really used to like this unit. It's like my deep coiler, right? I didn't like the unit, but holy smokes, I just keep winning with it. And I'm starting to see that there's like statistical correlation with me winning with it. So I'm gonna go with my Impact Swift Queen or King, whatever you identified the Holy Avenger Sovereign as. You get a Tree of Life on it. It's insane. You get Ocean Templar, you get Vamp. These things can cook. We're not even talking about the steeds. With the correct combos, it cooks. LOD. Dude, I'm feeling a little bit of love towards the Lord of Death, man, and the Hades. Let's check those stats. I just saw it. I think it was like 50 something, right? Or am I blind? I guess I'm blind. Hades is at 53%. Lord of Death is at 50.5. Wow. So when I upgrade to Hades, I have a 3% increased chance to win the game. Interesting to know. Yeah, LOD I think is great. You can play with cash out, right? I did not say that with Avenger. You can also play with cash out, right? The 3, no, the 4, right? I guess you could use Boar and Gate, but Boar and Gate are not going to be a great start with cash out. Avenger and LOD are a decent start, right? So that would also help them being an S tier for my Avenger and A tier for LOD, right? That would also that would be a good correlation that you can use them with cash out. But yeah, Lord of Death, we've got Flying Force with the wait, I've got both Flying Forces right here. We just need a Tempest right in between them. That'd be pretty cool. Put a Tempest right there. And then a Grarl right there, right? A Grarl with my Egg and my Avenger. And screw B and C tier, right? Screw those guys. We don't need the pairs. But yeah, sorry. Lord of Death, Flying Force, Steeds, Starcaller, APS. It can be a great divine unit. You can even vamp it. Some people like vamping it. And I mean, it's not that bad. It's not that bad to vamp it, especially because the Thanatos dealing out so much damage. I've seen people Tree of Life it. Don't recommend that one. Don't Tree of Life this, but I have seen it done. I think it's pretty solid. Maybe it's a little closer to B tier, but I still feel like A tier is pretty solid. Great in Classic too. I know I'm not supposed to get into the Classics. I'm sort of aiming for ranked more here, but in Classic it's a great unit too. So, and if you ever saw that one really amazing clip I made, I actually made the developers nerf a unit. One of the developers, Jules, was watching me play. We got sent massively on 16. I believe I was like 800 or 1,000 under, and I had a Hades, the Lord of Death upgrade. I had a Hades spawn like 50 dragons, bro. Okay, it was like 15. I full held myself, and I full held my teammate. We went from what should have been a loss to a definite win on the flip of the hat. Within like 6 hours, it had been nerfed. It was so sad, but it was awesome that I still got to experience the greatness of it. Whether or not it was working correctly or incorrectly, I'm not going to give my opinion. Okay. Millennium, dude, I didn't feel like I was gonna go with a lot of high ones, but dude, Millennium and Doomsday are insane. Like they just are, right? Millennium and Doomsday are insane. There's really only 2 ways to beat it. That's with a Fiend and a GK. That's it, right? I mean, if you really think about it, really think about it, these maybe it should be S tier. Maybe Millennium should. You know what? Let's go S tier. I mean, how many units in the game of these tier 6s? How many things can stop it? Right? I guess we could go through it. Witches, right? Witches, imps, Four Eyes sometimes, Robos now, Brutes are right? So you got 4 things on that. Four Eyes, Mimic, GK, Brutes, right? Millennium, GK and Feats, right? You could even say Ogres too, but Ogres, Four Eyes, Firelord's actually pretty good. Four Eyes is pretty much the big one. Four Eyes, Mass Brutes, I guess Mimics, right? So much, just a mole, right? A mole just instantly creams these guys. Now we got Honey Bear, now we got Hermit, right? But I feel like Millennium is probably that one unit that doesn't have that many weaknesses. We got Doomsday at 53%. Bro, that's wild. Dude, that is an insane statistic. That might be the biggest statistical difference I've ever seen. 58%. 58% chance to win. When I have Millennium, 58.8, but only 53.2 when I upgrade it to a Doomsday. That's insane. A 5.6% chance to lose if I upgrade the Millennium. Very interesting. Very interesting. That's probably because the Doomsday, right? If you do send correctly, send a GK or send a Fiend, gets stuck on it. But if you have multiple Millenniums, maybe it doesn't get stuck on it. But yeah, combinations. You've got. Oh, we didn't even talk about Dark Mage. Dark Mage buffs every single one of these units, right? So it'd be kind of unfair to give the Dark Mage to Doomsday only. But Dark Mage is nice. Dark Mage also for the Avenger. APS for these 2 units. APS, MPS is probably the best combo. A lot of people go crazy if I don't take APS Millennium. They're like, Doofus, you had APS Millennium in your role. Why didn't you take it? Right? So yeah, I think Millennium's in a great spot. Impact damage feels pretty good, right? I feel like Pierce used to be OP, and then just with the countless nerfs, with the advent of the Honey Bear, Power Mercs got a lot stronger. I feel like it's been like a changing momentum of impact units are better and piercing units are worse. Just from my perspective, right? Drakbot might not say that, but in my games personally, where I lost like 800 elo, now I'm up like 400 from where I was. I'm feeling like impact is the way to go. Pierce is not, personally. With that being said, I still think Shadow Dancer can kick some butt. I still think Shadow Dancer can kick some butt. I love that the clones is not RNG. That is so cool. I'm not a fan that the clones do have the RNG of spawning them on the left or right or behind or in front, right? That kind of sucks. That can change games. But this unit, as with most of these, right, with the right combo, is just insane. With the right combo, just insane. APS, Tree of Life, Ocean Templar, right? All these big units with great combos just go crazy. It sounded like I didn't play a lot of games with it though, which is actually surprising. I would prefer to play more games with Dread Knight and Shadow Dancer. Yeah, 50.7, but only 70 games is kind of wild. Quite surprised I've played that few games. But this is probably the biggest unit for comebacks. Yes, Tree of Life Sov does crazy stuff, but what Hades did on that one wave, on that 116 where it spawned dragons, covered everything, held like a million under, then covered my teammate, Shadow Dancer can still do that, right? A Tree of Life Shadow Dancer, a Butcher Shadow Dancer, like Shadow Dancer and a Dread Knight can do just wild, crazy things. And sometimes it doesn't even need to have like the combo on it, right? Sometimes it doesn't even need to have the unit that's buffing it. It just does crazy stuff as is because it just keeps spawning clones, right? If you have enough units in front of it and it spawns all those clones, it just spawns endlessly. Now the clones don't really do much damage, but the delay factor is just insane. And witches just don't seem as strong into it anymore, right? So it doesn't have like a super big weakness. I mean, of course, sending like mass units, but that means it has to be a massive send, right? So if you don't have a massive send in a Shadow Dancer or Dread Knight, it's going to be tough to leak it, right? It just is. This is going to probably upset some people, but I'm going to put Gate in B. Let me look at my statistics, but I think I'm going to go B. But then that makes me feel like Bunk needs to go in C because I don't think Gate and Bunk are an equivalent, right? Gate is just so like late game oriented. Like it's one of the few units, maybe the only unit here that like placing it pre 9, right? Maybe you place it on 6, but even 6 it probably doesn't have the time to spawn a couple of things. Placing it pre 9 just doesn't really work well. You could get away with the Boar on 7 or 8. You get away with the Bunk on 3, definitely 7, 3, 6, 5, all those waves. Definitely early. Like all these units you can use early. Gate really doesn't start hitting its stride until wave 9. So maybe it is just B tier with Bunk. Let's check the stat. It is impact, but contrary to the Millennium, it being natural, it has way more weaknesses than just fiends and GKs. It has imps, it has witches, right? It needs the time to actually spawn, right? If it does not have the time to spawn, it's not that great. So that kind of sucks. Am I dumb? Okay, here we go. We got Soulgate, Hellgate. Yeah, see, it's one of my lowest. It's pretty low. It's next to Firelord, right? So Firelord and Gate are my two worst performing tier 6s. I love Gates. They're fun. They're exciting. Yes, there's lots of combos. But they're just not as good as they used to be, you know? Which sucks because I feel like they're the worst impact unit of these 4. I think they're the worst impact unit of the 4 tier 6s. You know, that's kind of crazy when you think about it. That you have 4 impact T6s, 2 magic, 3 pierce. So that means we either need another magic tier 6 or a pure T6. That'd be a cool new unit. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Yeah. I don't know, Gate just it's amazing. It makes for the best videos. When you get a good Gate game, it's amazing. It's awesome. But I just don't feel like that happens enough for me to have it higher than B. It's just the truth. But let me just walk through. I'm keeping Boar at C. I don't care if it's my highest. Honey Bears. If I make a tier list, you know where Honey Bear is going to be. You know where Honey Bear is going to be. And for that reason, I've got to have Boar at the lowest. I mean, literally, we could sandbox it right now. I could show you sandbox to see that Honey Bear literally just takes away that ability damage. The ability damage that the Boar does is just completely countered by one 180 Mythium unit. You have a 700 gold unit countered by 180 Mythium. Just like that. That just kind of makes me sick. Right? That just kind of makes me sick. But yeah, so we've got Boar there. Gate just needs so many things to happen. Banana Bunk has this sort of the same issues as Boar, although it can be a standalone early in the game if placed correctly. But I mean, like 17 and 19 used to be the best waves for Bunk, used to be the best wave for Boar, and now I feel like you throw Honey Bear, Mole in there, it's just not as good, right? So I feel like you can win a game against a player that has like 5 red eyes on 17 or 19. Same thing with Bunk. That's not good. Shadow Dancer, great unit. You know, I mean, it's probably should be S tier, but I'm gonna keep it there. LOD, Phoenix. LOD if you get enough spawns out. Phoenix if you have it tanking correctly. Positioning matters big time. Egg is egg. We all love egg. And then you got your 2 impactors in Millennium and Sovereign. I just feel like there's fewer weaknesses, right? Let's do that just for my sake. Like Avenger just a little lower. I'm just winning with it, and I've got to show it some respect. So this is me finally saying I respect the Avenger, I respect the Sovereign, and I need to play it more if I want to win, right? Millennium, not that weak. But if you guys enjoyed this tier list, please let me know. I'll also drop the link in the description if you want to make your own tier list. Please let me know what I got wrong, maybe what I got right, or tell me exactly what your tier list would be. And I'll see you guys in the next future tier list video of Legion TD2 units, mercenaries, waves. We'll figure it out. See you guys next time.